Kona Ice. Kona Ice is a shaved ice truck that brings a one-of-a-kind tropical experience to you. Guests can flavor their own Kona Ice on our signature flavor wave, dance to our island music tunes, and enjoy a nutritious and delicious treat. Contact Jeremy and Marissa at 352-403-0515. Don't forget to follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Hey guys, and welcome to another edition of the Goblay Show. I'm your host, Billy Goble, and we just had the best of part 3. So now it's time for best of part 4, and we will continue to do this series after we do 6 or 7 guests at a time, possibly 12. We'll double up, and we'll do a best of so you can recap of the guests that we've had on. And if you haven't checked out our videos on YouTube and Spotify, we had the best of part 1 and part 2 and part 3 out now. So now this is best of part 4, and let's kick this off. Enjoy.
Starting out, I strictly played football. I didn't play any sports. I played baseball when I was like 8 or 9, but it all started with football and because it just started from football.
Right.
Yeah.
So did you play Pop Warner or Wolfpack, we call it?
So not many people know this. I'm not from Sumter County.
Oh, I didn't know that either. So I'm one of them.
Yeah, I'm not from Sumter County. I'm from Kissimmee, Florida.
Okay.
Yeah. So pretty much my whole family played football.
Okay.
I got 4 brothers.
Okay.
And all my uncles and my dad, they all played at Osceola High School.
Okay. Cowboys?
Yeah, Osceola Cowboys. So pretty much how it started for me is at like 5, 6 years old, I just woke up one morning. My brother was like, all right, come with me. And then I got in the car with him in his Cadillac, and this is my oldest brother. And he's just like, signed me up for Pop Warner football, City League football.
Right.
And that's pretty much how I started. It was just started playing football. He just like, yeah, this is what we do. This is how we do it in here. So.
Now, did you start on the defensive side of the ball, like you ended, or did you have?
I played both sides of the ball. That's my first time. So I actually played defensive end and offensive guard.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't see you as a guard. Well, maybe a quick guard. But I doubt they were pulling there or anything.
No, we weren't pulling. I mean, I was pretty chubby. I was a little chubby little kid. Yeah, I was a little chubby little kid.
Well,
so
we like to say husky.
I'm sorry,
yeah.
husky.
Ask anybody, they'll say husky. They prefer it. So you were offensive lineman. What else did you say?
Defensive end.
Okay. So when did you get a chance to play running back at all?
So that was like my first year playing, and then like every year we played some type of league, like City League, right. Pop Warner, or whatever. It was in Kissimmee is a lot more to choose from. Mm-hmm. As I got older, I started to play. My primary position started to be running back and linebacker. Okay. Yeah.
All right. So you kind of got a feel for it. Kind of got you an idea of what it was like.
Yeah.
I mean, you're on both sides of the ball. A lot of people don't realize how that's a tough transition. I mean, you think about it. You're going from the opposite meaning. You're going to get the ball versus you're protecting the ball.
Correct.
So a lot of people are like, well, how hard is that? Well, it's not hard. It's the fact that you got to remember which side you're on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys that jump off sides and they're on offense. You're not supposed to jump off sides. Exactly. You're supposed to get the other guys to jump off sides. But so what age did you move to Sumter County?
So I moved here 6th grade, second semester of 6th grade.
Okay.
So yeah, that's when I moved here.
Okay.
So that was actually I think in 6th grade I didn't play tackle football. because
they don't let. I mean, they're starting to kind of like let sixth graders get involved because of the way the Wolfpack kind of does it. They have a 12U team.
Okay.
And so they're like, well, if they're playing 12U, I mean, what's the difference between that and
sixth grade to go play?
Yeah, the football, at a school level.
Yeah.
But I think they're learning the transition to, it all evolves one day. Remember when it was strictly like, if you were sixth grade, no way. I mean, you barely got on the field if you were seventh grader.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's still kind of like that. And I understand why. I mean, it's a road of passage. You just don't. I mean, you just think of it. You're a senior, your senior year, and you got a freshman who just walks in and acts like he thinks he's gonna take over your spot. That ain't how it works.
Yeah.
Unless he's that good, and you're like, wow, maybe I should give up my spot. But chances are that ain't happening.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, football season's already over with when I moved here, as far as in middle school. But I didn't know anything about. So, it's actually a funny story with that. I was going to. So at going into seventh grade, they started back Wolfpack. Yeah,
okay.
They didn't have Wolfpack at first, and I think they were starting it back.
Gotcha.
And Michael Todd, he was like, I played baseball during the time, and he was one of my coaches, and he tried to get me to play football. And so I was going to potentially play football my seventh grade year for Wolfpack, but Coach Kinley shut that down pretty fast. Yeah. He was like, "No, that's not happening." So
you know what's funny is Coach Kinley likes to you make decisions as a coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like he was talking about the people that I've had on the podcast. They played seventh grade or eighth grade football at the middle school, or he cut them, or I think he cut your highness. He's like,
yeah.
He's like, I can't believe I cut a kid that went to D1. But maybe that's sometimes what you need, is a little motivation.
Yeah.
So what was that transition like, coming from Osceola over to little old Suffolk County? Because, I mean, it really hadn't started growing since the last, 15 years.
It was a transition. It was let's just say, so we moved to Center Hill. My dad brought land a long time ago, and
Old C-Town.
Yeah, old Center Hill. Brought land a long time ago. We built the house on it. So when we moved up here, this is how crazy it was. I'm used to walking the streets, going to different stores and stuff like that. And when we first moved in, there was kids riding cows. And I was like, Dad.
Literally.
Yeah, I was like, Dad, was that kid just riding a cow?
Literally cowboys. Literally cowboys.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that is crazy.
So if that gets you in the mind of my transition, it was just like day and night. I didn't country, everything. It was just it was different. It was just different. Riding cows, and I rode my first horse. I rode a cow. So, but yeah, it was very interesting. And then it just, I guess, as far as socially, I didn't really have any. It was trying to meet friends and find friends was kind of difficult. But you'd be surprised. My first person that spoke to me was Oscar Vera.
Okay.
First guy spoke to me and was like, "Hey man, what's up?" Just being Oscar, just being his nice self.
Being genuinely nice.
Yeah, just his genuine nice self. So he was one of my first friends. So that's how it came about. Sixth grade.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, and that's a big transition. I mean, you're going from, like you said, walking to, Kissimmee's big. It's just wide. It's spread out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like you were downtown Orlando.
No.
But I could see that transition coming over there. I ask all these people that come. They come from all over. When I was at the school working, I'd have a kid transfer. They'd be brand new. Had the slip in their hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be like, "So where are you from?" And they're like, "Michigan." And I'm like, How did you
get
find us?
Yeah.
And my dad got transferred here at the jail. Not that his dad was in jail.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but for the correctional facility, or my dad was working here, or T&D, or so, somewhere coming down, and it's a weird process.
Yeah, it is.
To go, wait, what?
Yeah.
You came from where?
Exactly.
Now, Kissimmee's not that.
No, it's not that
far
drastic.
off,
Yeah, yeah.
But it is a change itself.
Yeah.
Like you said. So.
I mean, they call me Yankee when I came here.
Yankee, you're more south than we were.
Man, it's middle school. It was middle
Who
school.
said Yankee? I want names. Remember?
I knew exactly who it was. It was like day and night.
You have to tell me.
Yeah, I'll tell you offline.
Oh, well, yeah, you're not a Yankee, right? I mean, maybe they meant by the baseball team. Yeah.
I have no idea. The Yankees play down there.
Yeah. So let's see. So you go in and you back on Wolfpack. Did you do?
No, I played.
Oh, that's right. You said it was back. It brought back. So you go. Did you do the middle school?
Yeah, I played middle school.
Okay, so what positions did you play there?
I played linebacker and fullback.
Fullback.
Yeah, fullback, linebacker.
Which one did you like better?
Oh, linebacker.
Oh, you want to hit something?
Yeah. Linebacker for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I was slow. I was slow at the time, and I wasn't fast. I don't know, but like I love playing linebacker. But of course, I was in 7th grade, and I wasn't getting that much playing time. So yeah.
Right.
Is the exterior of your home or business covered in dirt, mildew, or mold? Driveway or walkway stain? Pressure King can make your siding, deck, vents, and concrete look new again with no damage. Pressure King has cleaned the exterior of houses and businesses all over Sumter County area. Usually it takes less than a day and costs less than you would expect. Call AJ at 352-457-7209.
I gotta ask you this because I know it's gonna take a little bit to set this up, but had a previous podcast and I mentioned you. I don't know if you saw the video I sent you.
Mm.
Okay, so Mike Foote, he was our baseball coach at our high school.
His Mike Foot.
That's his name, Foote.
Foot.
but it's got an E on the end, so it's
Foote. He's French.
Everybody says Foote.
Yeah.
So when the family comes over, I go, "Hey, the feet are here."
That's good.
Yeah. Shout out to the Foots.
Yeah.
Or the feet, whatever.
We know who you are, Mike.
Yeah, you
Mike
got-
Foote.
So I was telling him the story because at that time I'm over at Disney. Pirates are playing the Braves in Atlanta. Goes to 19 innings.
All right, this is all ended. We are out of here. No, I'm just kidding. Keep going. Just
I hate to keep twisting the dagger. And
there's some significance to it now.
Well, I'm dying to hear your side of the story. Mm-hmm. So to set this up again, in case somebody hasn't watched that episode, it's 19th inning, bottom of the 19th inning, right?
Mm-hmm. In Atlanta.
I don't remember who was batting. Do you remember?
Yes. Give me a minute.
I can't remember.
It was a pitcher. He fell.
But they hit.
I'll think of it. Yeah.
They hit
Scott Proctor.
Okay, so Proctor hits a ball to Alvarez. Mm-hmm. Alvarez relays it to you. Mm-hmm. All we need is one out.
Lugo's running in.
Yes.
That's one out. One out. On the 19th.
Right. The ball, you catch the ball. You tag. You make a tag. Mm-hmm. Clear as day.
Mm-hmm. Textbook, I will beautifully. Reminder, 2011.
Yes.
No replay. Neighborhood play still exists at second base.
Human error still exists.
Yep. We can go on and on.
And I think that umpire was ready to go.
Yes. 6.5 hours in.
Jerry Mills.
Home
plate umpire. Never forget it. I'm at Disney. We had our start time was like 5 or 6. I did the night parade. So the night parade that goes through Magic Kingdom. Mm-hmm. I'm driving a float. And we did a parade. We did 2 parades, but we had a gap in between where they did fireworks in the middle. So
that sounds awesome, by the way.
Oh, well, it was. It was literally, I don't consider that a job. It was fun.
I would say not.
So we do a parade. We get done. Park. I'm like, we got to go watch the Pirates because it was on TBS, I think.
Yeah, TBS,
Because it was in Atlanta. So we get there and I'm like, oh my gosh, this thing's gone down to 19 innings. You know. We do another parade. I come back. It's 1 a.m. in the morning. And this play happens. And I'm like, this is how it ends? I remember my reaction, but I can't imagine you sitting there holding the ball like, what just happened? So tell me what you remember. Just tell me how that whole last, what, even 10 seconds?
So the story in the story that most people forget about is Daniel McCutcheon. That's who's on the mound. And why that had significance is Daniel McCutcheon was off that day. So back in the day, they didn't give you an off day in the big leagues very easily, especially a bullpen guy. He's a bullpen guy. Well, he threw 3 days in a row, and I believe he was up 4. So you never really ever threw after that.
Right.
The man kept asking as the game went on, knowing that we're running out of pitching, should I go get my cleats? We finally say, yeah, you should get your cleats. Well, by the time we're thinking that, he's running to the bullpen with his glove. And I called it turf days. Like, You're not allowed out in the bullpen. You're not out in the cage because if you're in the cage, you want to be a wild animal. So you don't let those guys out there. So he stayed in the dugout. So he runs out there. He throws 5 1/3 innings up to this point in that game on his off day.
Yeah.
Like, he's not allowed to throw.
Yeah.
Like, medical staff, no, you will not throw today. So I always remind people that is gritty. That is the teammate you want.
Yeah.
And he fought and he pitched really well. Obviously, he threw up all zeros. So here we are, 1 out. Somehow Julio Lugo gets to third base, no clue how. And Scott Proctor, the pitcher at the time for the Braves, is up. And he rolls over a ball to Pedro Alvarez. And Pedro comes up, clean throw, throws it to me. I swipe tag.
Yep.
Because you don't kill someone that's 6 feet up the line. Because I catch it about 6 feet up the line. He was dead to rights.
Oh, yeah.
And the crazy part is, if you look back, Scott Proctor fell. But because Jerry Mills said safe, I didn't even care. I was yelling because the game's over.
Yeah.
But Daniel McCutcheon couldn't believe it. So he's yelling at me, throw it to first base. Throw it to first base. Because it would have been a double play.
Right. Because he could have passed.
Yeah, it would have been the 20th inning.
Right.
So that's all happening. I don't hear anything. I just go straight to Jerry Mills. I was like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. I think I said it twice. And I said, Jerry, you're going to be so disappointed in yourself when you watch the video. And I look back at that. I'm like, I was his mother in that moment. I was literally his mother. You're going to be so, who says that?
Gerald.
God, Gerald Arthur Mills, you are going to be so disappointed. I was like, what did I do?
Oh my God.
So I went into Mama Michael mode.
Yeah.
And by the time I got that out, Clint Hurdle, bubble gum and all, flying out of his mouth,
oh my gosh.
red
Clint.
as a tomato, fired up.
Yep.
And you don't want to get in the way of him when he's got something to say.
Right.
And I look up to him. He's just a great human being. He starts going. Some of the guys that were on the IL start coming out and screaming, like Snyder and Domit, and it just becomes a thing. And I literally think they're going to eat Jerry Mills. He's not a big guy, and all the guys I just mentioned are pretty big dudes.
Right.
I think they're going to eat him.
Oh my gosh.
So we get out of there and we protest the game, and ends up that Jerry Mills ended up having to apologize on national television.
Wow.
But my wife still to today was the maddest person in the stadium. There's no doubt in my mind. I was cool, calm, and collected. Like, he's a human being too. She always jokes around. She's like, you were like Yoda. Like, what was wrong with you? Like, that's not you. But that moment, you were like Yoda. It's weird. So it was one of those things that he knew he got it wrong. But like some of the advice I got, I like to share this story. Like some of the umpires told me, like, you got to make it completely evident that you tagged him. I was like, that's not my job.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you need to go into him hard.
Right.
So I still to today, even when they changed the rules with the Buster Posey rule, which didn't exist, the neighborhood play, all these things didn't exist, no replay.
Yep.
Neighborhood play still exists. What that is like, as long as you were near the bag or near a tag or swipe tag, phantom tag, all that stuff was still evident. I tell people all the time, I was never going to put it in anybody's hands ever again from that point forward. Because Joe West told me, other umpires told me, like, never put it in our hands. And as much as I disagreed with that, because it is their job, I decided, that's what I'm going to do. So I'll never forget in 2015 with the Buster Posey rule where you have to give him the plate, no contact. I went into contact 3 different times. They ruled all in my favor. I got ran over 3 times, all outs. So you still can find a way, but never leave it into somebody else's hands when you want to make sure. So, it's part of the reason why we have replay.
Yeah.
It was a devastating play.
Gosh,
we fell off the map after that too.
Yeah.
We went to Philadelphia, and I don't even know if I remembered how to play baseball for 3 days. I went to Philadelphia, and I swear I had a hole in my bat. I swung and missed so much. It was wild. We got destroyed up there.
Well, I mean, that has a lot of, especially if you've got momentum building up.
Yeah, we're in first place.
Yeah, and then you got
middle to the end of the July. I think it's July 27th or something like that. Yeah, I mean, you're talking about we're in first place, having a chance to possibly. I mean, we ended up making a trade and get some better players in August to make our team better. Still fighting for the playoffs. That run after that was bad. I'm talking bad. Historically bad.
Whether your water is supplied by a public municipality or a private well, for residential or commercial use, Purified Water Services LLC has the solutions to provide you with simply clean water. We offer a complete line of professional water filtration equipment and accessories. Soft water makes a difference you can see and feel. Water heater and appliances last longer with less maintenance. Iron and H2S filters eliminate iron stains and offensive rotten egg odors and protects your water softener equipment from iron fouling. No matter what your problem is, Purified Water Services LLC has a solution. Contact Kenny Williams at 352-446-2709.
Let me ask you this, and a lot of people don't, for the people that don't know you that will listen to this or watch this, where did you come up with your famous sayings of clear the deck, cannonball coming, and raise the Jolly Roger? Because I know those are your 2 catchphrases that everybody knows. I've even got, I didn't bring it out here, but I've got a little beanie. It's got raise the Jolly Roger on it. Yeah.
You know how much money I get for that, by the way?
You probably get nothing out of that.
Bingo. You win the prize. You win more money than I will get for that. So the phrases, as most people tell you, are, well, if they're honest, there are very few original ideas. Most are stolen.
Right.
And with the raise the Jolly Roger and clear the deck specifically, now others have just come. I do when a Pirate hits a big triple, for example. I'll say trip, triple. And that came from the playground when I was a 10-year-old kid playing wiffle ball. One of my buddies, that's what he would say. We would play wiffle ball on the concrete back of a grade school over by the basketball courts. And so if you hit a ground ball on concrete, and we had the Cosm wiffle ball that had all the holes in it, not the Pete Rose long 3 holes that you throw a curveball without working at it, which I hate. It drives me nuts. And I won't play wiffle ball with those things. You got to get the Cosm wiffle ball and the Cosm bat.
Yeah.
And anyway, so you'd hit a ground ball inside the third base bag. This thing would roll forever, and you could easily get a triple. And my buddy would get triple, and it drove me nuts. But so that one day, somebody was hitting a triple, and it was a big triple, and it came to mind, triple. The raise the Jolly Roger. I was in the front office, I mentioned to you, for a number of years, and I was an 18-year-old kid, intern, my first year there, and I went to the guy that called me kid and said, when a pirate, a real pirate, buccaneer, takes over another ship, they put up a pirate skull and crossbone flag. Wouldn't it be neat if we had a big skull and crossbone flag atop Three River Stadium, like they do when Wrigley Field, when the Cubs win, they put a blue W up. And he basically said, "Get out of my office, kid. We don't want a circus here." So years down the road, I'm announcing, and this is many years announcing, and Bob was Bob likes to push my Bob walk, push my triggers.
Yeah.
And he knows what can get me riled up. And he would get on me all the time about, you're the only announcer that after Pirates win, Lanny's got, there was no doubt about it.
No doubt about it.
Bob Prince, we had him all the way. Marty Brenneman, this one belongs to the Reds. Howie Rose says, put it in the books. The guy in Washington, D.C. now, Charlie Slows, says, that's a curly W. So most announcers have this saying, and now, of course, Mike Lang, Elvis has left the building, was his catchphrase. And I said, I've got a one-track mind. I don't want to get my attention diverted worrying about that, because I think certainly the most important thing is to try and get these calls right and all that. And I did tell him, we talked about it, and I said, mention this thing. I said, when I was in the front office, that's what I did. I went to this guy and told him, he goes, well, yeah, that's the Jolly Roger. And he goes, you still see people on occasion will have that, especially in the early 90s when we were winning, people had flags with the Jolly Roger on it. He says, why don't you say, hoist the Jolly Roger? I said, well, that's not bad. I thought about it. I thought, hoist is so formal. It's proper, maritime to say hoist.
Yeah.
You hoist a flag.
Yeah.
But I said, I don't like hoist. It's too formal. So I said, how about raise? So I started doing raise. And Bill, I did it for I don't know how many years, and nobody paid any attention to it because we were losing all the time.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, 13, 14, 15 comes along. And man, we saw these. They were doing stories about it in the paper. Raise the Jolly Roger, and people were buying, and they started doing T-shirts. And now the Pirates came to me a few years later. In fact, it was probably during that 13, 14, 15 run. I called for the meeting because I said, I'd like to do something where we could, I don't know how we could work with one of the sponsors, maybe Giant Eagle.
Right.
And they said, well, we've been talking to baseball about it. What we'd like to do is baseball would like to trademark it. I said, okay. Walked out of there. There was one time I met with an attorney. My brother's an attorney. He said, I've got a buddy who's a copyright attorney, wants to meet with you for lunch. So we go to lunch. Now, again, this is well before they started winning. This is Three River Stadium.
Yeah.
And he said, you're doing this call. He said, what do you think about copywriting it? I said, well, we talked about the cost and stuff. When all was said and done, the cost of it, I said, and he almost felt like, maybe it's not going to catch on anyway. What if it doesn't? You spend all this money and time. Yeah. Heck with it. I got like a week later, I get a bill in the mail before, you did stuff on the internet from this guy. I can't tell you how much it was. It was ridiculous. I called my brother. I said, I got charged for that lunch. He goes, well, we did talk business. I said, yeah, but I didn't call for the meeting. So he goes, let me talk to the guy. So it probably cost me more money, this phrase. Anyway, long story to tell you that they ended up, baseball now has that trademarked, and good for them because it's a cool thing. And and especially when the Pirates were winning in 12, 13, 14, 15, to see it all over the country, all over the world. I'll get people when we were in the playoffs on will tweet me or whatnot with pictures like in Greece, Italy. Hey, we're raising the Jolly Roger, and it's almost become tribal. It's kind of cool in that regard.
Duto Realty is a homegrown business with an eye for getting the job done right. From football games to Sunday school and everything in between, these ladies care about our community and the people in it, helping buyers and sellers in all of Florida with all types of transactions, including residential, commercial, farm, or vacant land. They do it all. They even offer auction services and sellouts to always get the job done right.
I've been here for a minute.
Yeah. Quite a minute.
Quite a minute.
A long minute.
And I met you shortly after I moved here and started working.
Yes. It wasn't very long after that.
Yep.
My process was a little bit different. I left. I wanted to be a chef.
And this is hilarious.
Yeah, you probably didn't know that. I wouldn't say chef, but culinary. How about that? I'll be a prep cook.
I think nothing wrong with that.
I'll be
Prep work can be tough.
That's true. But
It's
I'd rather
tedious.
let me just put the garnish on the side of the plate.
Like the parsley on top, just. Ta-da.
You got the orange slices.
Right. Little zest of orange.
That is a Floridian. That is a navel.
Like, and here we have a tangelo. Something stupid.
I would even break out a pomelo. Ooh, pomelos are great.
I love pomelos.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people don't know what a pomelo is, but
I didn't either until I moved down here, and I was like, tequila goes really good inside. That's how I learned.
oh my gosh, Celia.
I was like, I love Florida.
We've been 14 minutes in the podcast. We already mentioned alcohol. This is gonna be a great podcast.
This is a fantastic podcast, Bill.
So my process was my mother and I and my buddy Sean O'Rourke. Shout out to Sean. We were gonna go. We got my mom's van. Fresh out of high school, just graduated. It's June. We were like, we don't even know where to go. We're just like, hey, we're gonna go over there and get a job. Didn't know what to expect. Didn't know if we were gonna get a job. We didn't know anything.
You winged it.
So, do you remember the guard shack behind Magic Kingdom by DU?
Absolutely.
Okay, I was gonna say you should. You were there by then. It's not there anymore, but so we went to the guard shack, and the guy's like, "Yeah, can I help you?" And then we're like, "We want a job."
Did you just roll up and be like,
Yeah,
job, please?
we rolled up like Kermit in the Muppet movie. Like, we're here to see the rich and famous contract.
You were moving right along.
Yeah, we remember we didn't have a banjo and a string or a rod on my arm. So, anyways, we go to the guard shack, and we ask the guy, and he's like, "Oh, that's at casting." We're like, "Here's a better word or question. What is casting?"
You're going, I have another question for you.
So we go to the casting building, and it is like going to Oz.
It is.
It really
in there.
is.
Mm-hmm.
When you walk in, you're like, oh my gosh, the doors are like from Alice in Wonderland.
They really
the
are.
Door handles, yeah.
I love those door handles,
I
too.
do
They're
too.
so cute.
I do too. So I go in, and my mom and Sean are trailing me because I'm like, I know where I'm going. Yeah.
You took the lead.
I go up the hill, and there's these two signs that says, what jobs available. And I'm like you did on the paper. I don't know what to pick. So I saw entertainment, but it said performer. And I'm like, well, I can't dance.
You could try.
I have 2 left feet. So I was like, character attendant. That's got to be like, what, entertainment too?
Yup.
Like I'll carry the water bottle for the football team. That's all good. I did in high school.
You're like, I'll be the water boy.
I'll be the water boy again. So I see this character attendant. Or back then we were called greeters.
That's right. Yep, we were greeters back in the day.
Greeter. Entertainment greeter. So I'm like, well, I like to think I'm a people person. So I was like, oh, all right. So the lady comes in there and we go through the interview process. And she's like, so what do you think a entertainment greeter is? Or a character greeter? I was like, well, basically it's like a bodyguard. And she said, well, not exactly. And she couldn't be more wrong. That I found out later, she couldn't have been any more wrong. 100% wrong. It's exactly how I described it.
You're like, lady, you haven't done this line of work, have you?
Yeah, you are here at casting. How do you know? Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I've always interviewed well. I love interviewing because it's just like this. We're talking.
It's a conversation.
Conversation. I love it. So get the job. Sean gets a job at Grand Fla.
Ooh.
He's at, I want to say Victoria and Albert's, but it's probably like Citricos.
Citricos.
As a prep cook.
Nice.
Actually, yes, prep cook. He did that first. Then he did valet. He said he made more money valet than he did as a prep cook.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. I mean, good for him. Good
yeah.
for valet, but
So, and then my mom's like, she went over to River Country.
I miss River Country. That's cesspool.
River Country, yes. Didn't need a COVID shot. I went to River Country.
Right. Seriously, I'm immune to everything at this point.
Didn't have malaria. Had it all one time. First jump in the pool, I got everything.
That was a one and done.
MMR. You name it.
I think I grew another finger, but I'm good.
Like the 3-eyed fish on The Simpsons.
Yeah. Went to River Country.
Oh my gosh. So my mom was in tickets at River Country. So I'm like, okay, so we all got 3 different jobs and okay, and so we were excited. And then, that whole first day.
Oh yeah.
How was your first day at DU? I always say it's a magical place. It's a magical time.
Yeah. I was going to say, I was like Twitter-pated with it all. I was so excited to go through traditions. And I remember when they would ask questions and you could get like the little figurines.
Yep.
I made it like a goal to collect as many of them as I could and answer all these questions right.
Like, I will fight you right now for
like,
that Pluto.
I will beat you in here right now. Give me that Donald Duck. This means war. But it was great. I loved traditions. And then when Mickey comes out.
Oh, yeah.
I lost it. Totally lost it.
Mickey makes a lot of appearances like throughout. Did you do Disney Day? Or not Disney Days, but we did Disney Days. But there's Once Upon a Time Is Now. Did you do that?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yep. I remember that too. God, that goes back.
Yeah. I don't think they do any of that anymore. Besides
I'm not
traditions.
sure. I was going to say, I know they just do trad, but I don't know of anything else.
So you went through all that and you did your training for your specific role.
Oh, yes. Well, I did my character course, so I got to learn how to be friends with a lot of fun people and
interesting people.
Help bring the Disney entertainment world to life, which was wonderful.
Absolutely.
It was a crazy fun experience I did for 8.5 years.
Yeah.
I gave 8.5 years of my life to that department, which I
your
loved.
Ankles and your knees.
And my knees, I have the
Shoulders.
arthritis to prove it. Oh my God, like everything just cracks all the time. I wake up in the morning and I like crack my neck. My fiance looks at me like, "Are you okay?" I was like, I think
there's something wrong with you.
I was like, "Babe, I'm just busted. It's fine. It's okay." But yeah. But it was great, but man, did it take a physical toll. And I'm sure it did for you too, even as an attendant, because I mean, you were running around after all of us and you're trying to keep everybody in line. And I mean,
let me tell you,
you were intense.
Without getting too descriptive, my feet are horrible.
Oh, I'm sure.
From wearing black shoes on asphalt.
Oh, I am sure. It's like they melt into it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's how it feels. That I'm like, black shoes, really?
Yeah, like you couldn't.
This pavement is 150 degrees right now.
Like you knew when the shoes would go like.
Yeah, or when you stopped to answer a question, and you went.
You're like, and I'm stuck now. Yep. There was one time during a parade, we had to wear tennis shoes. It was a parade at the studios. It was Block Party Bash, and there was one time my shoe like ripped completely out, and the bottom of it was almost melted onto Hollywood Boulevard, and I'm going. That's not my idea of a good time, and I can't really walk and wave right now because we're at a show stop. So this is going to be really interesting. But yeah, I did that all the time.
Let me tell you about Block Party. I don't know how it must have been because I can't imagine what it was like being in Block Party, but watching it was like.
It was like being so overstimulated. Like, look at it.
There was so much going on.
Oh, yeah. It was nuts.
It was like a riot going on. You're like,
yep.
And then I'm trying to take pictures.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like.
And we're all a blur.
Yeah, and you're like, you're like, okay, I got to come back to get you because this person, I was so focused on that person that. When is the next time you work that shit?
And me, I was like, I'm here like 6 days a week. I'm cast 4, but I'm here at least 6.
Oh, man. Those were the days, though.
Yeah, they really were. I always say that was definitely some of the golden years. That was just some of the best time of my life thus far.
Yeah. CY Western Company is located in Bushnell, Florida. It's a great place for boots, clothing, gifts, and accessories for the whole family.
They are a family-owned and operated business that opened in 2008. They offer free gift bagging and layaway services, and also a 10% discount for 4-H and FFA members with proof of membership. Be sure to like them on Facebook, where customers can stay updated on sales and giveaways. You can find them next to Lowry's True Value Hardware in Bushnell, open Monday through Friday, 10 to 6, and Saturdays, 9 to 5. Be sure to check out CY Western Company.
Hey, I'm the same age. I remember the dial-up. I mean, come on, man.
This was 2004, so yep. I didn't have a cell phone for like years after that still.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, I got in my horse and buggy and I went to the the parking garage, and I get it and I'm like, yeah, I did it. Like I landed a gig, like is how I saw it. I was like, this is gonna be awesome. Like I've never really lived away from home before. And so like as I'm leaving, a song pops into my head, and it's the song from Disney's Peter Pan, where they're like marching, and it's like,
oh yeah.
And so I'm just like humming that to myself as I'm walking from the parking garage to my dorm to tell my roommates. And so I'm like, and then I hear a car door open from behind me, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. And then I hear someone running up behind me, and I'm like, oh, I'm naive. This must be a friend of mine. And
it's the Russian mafia.
I turned around and I got mugged. I turned to my side, and someone jammed a taser into my ribs.
Oh my God.
And I don't know if you've ever been tased before.
Not on purpose.
Yeah.
Maybe at a flea market and it went off by accident.
I also had never been tased before, so my body just went like totally rigid.
Oh yeah.
And this guy just like reached into my pocket to try to take my wallet. And like I'm a college student who was going to the parking garage to check his email. I don't have money.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't even get my own computer. And I didn't know what to do, so I just like Frankenstein moved and just like swatted my stiff arm down at him and just went, no.
Wow.
And he looked at me, and then he just ran and didn't take my wallet, got back in the car. And I got back to my room, and I was like, so I got the internship. I'm going to be doing that. My roommate's like, awesome. I was like, and I also think I got mugged. Like unrelated. And they're like, you got to call somebody and let them know. And so I called campus security the next day, and they're like, yeah, someone matching that car and that description robbed someone else on the campus with a sawed-off shotgun.
Oh my!
And I was like, good Lord, I was the test subject.
Yeah,
I was like the dry run.
Yeah,
I was like, I can just imagine like the getaway driver being like, look, a taser's not going to be enough.
Yep.
Like this guy is just too strong looking.
They're like, taser, nope.
Yeah,
you have to go bigger.
Yeah, let's go with the sawed-off shotgun. And if that doesn't work, get in the tank. We're just going to take him out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I never got justice, but.
Wow, that's crazy. And I heard Baltimore was nice at that time of year. You know what I mean? Like,
well, this is, Baltimore. I mean, I came from Baltimore, so you think I'd be used to muggings.
Right.
But this was like College Park is just outside of D.C.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Like, isn't that where Jim Henson went? Was University of Maryland? Okay.
Yeah, my favorite thing about that is that Jim Henson went to University of Maryland. They have a statue of him with Kermit sitting on a bench outside of our like student union. But what they always fail to mention is that Jim Henson was like in the like theater area, and he was like, I got this idea, Muppets. And they're like, you're an idiot. Don't do that. That's dumb. And so he left college.
Yep.
And then he made the Muppets, and they're like, look at this genius who went to our school.
Yeah,
like you don't.
We should honor him with a statue.
Yeah, you don't get to take credit for that. You told him no.
Yeah,
like he came to you and you crapped on his dreams.
So having said that, especially in that area, you're talking about DC. We just came from there, and not like we moved. We went to visit over the holidays, and so we went to all the touristy stuff, and
the Exorcist stairs.
To where?
The Exorcist stairs?
We didn't go
there. Oh, okay.
But it was on the list.
Yeah.
We
we went to Arlington, which is I love it. Arlington's such a cool place, and I had been there before on our senior trip. We actually went up there my senior year to DC and then New York. So we got a little taste of the bigger cities, coming from like a rural area in Florida, and like a car drove by and backfired like 6 times in a row, and everybody thought it was a drive-by. So they all like hit the ground and they look like dominoes, But we went to Arlington, and a teacher that I had named Jim Henderson. He was my biology teacher in 10th grade. He just recently passed away. Probably 3-4 months ago. I think it was like September-ish. But like 2 or 3 weeks ago, actually it was like I think it was January, middle of January. They buried him in Arlington, which was really cool. He was a helicopter pilot in Vietnam. And so, lady that I know was telling me about him and how it was really cool. She's like, yeah, we just came from them up there. And I said, what were you doing? And she's like, well, Mr. Henderson was buried up there. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. And she's like, Billy, you just have no idea all the credentials he had. Like, this man had all these medals, and he had like all these missions in Vietnam. He was a real hero, And so I'm like, man, that's so cool. We never would have known that about him because he never talked about it. And normally the guys who never say anything did some really crazy stuff or saw some crazy stuff, So I'm telling somebody else the story, and I was like, yeah, Mr. Henderson, my biology teacher. And they're like, that's amazing, all the things he did. I'm like, yeah, that nobody would have ever known. And then she's like, well, at least he had the Muppets. And I was like, gonna talk, and I'm like, I'm sorry, what? And I said Jim Henderson, not Jim Henson. I was like, what was Kermit flying Vietnam? I'm like, hi ho. I'm like, and he was my biology teacher. I'll find it, the enemy encampment. The opium crisis.
Also, like, that she thought that Jim Henson's career trajectory went like Vietnam, Muppets, Billy's biology teacher.
like he had a heck of a life, man. It was like, and I'm like, and I was a huge Jim Henson fan growing up. I mean, I still love the Muppets. I'm not afraid to say that. I love the Muppets.
Yeah.
I grew up on the Muppets. And when he died, I was like 8 years old. I was devastated, man. So when she's like, well, at least said the Muppets, I'm like, he died like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, it was hilarious. But that's when I came to grasp that people only listen to half of what I say. So.
What was that?
I said it only.
Just kidding.
Oh, come on.
I gotcha.
Yeah, you got me.
When you're talking about visiting,
I thought our audio went out for a minute. Great, we've had audio issues all day. I was like, you can't hear me.
When you were talking about the cars backfiring in DC, it just made me remember that this whole time that I was at College Park, it was also when there was the DC sniper.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
I do.
And so, like, they're like, hey, for your own safety, when you're outside, walk in zigzag lines. So it was like and I was like freshly 18, like never had lived away from home. I was living on campus, and I'm like going to school, and everyone's just like, it was like the wildest thing. Like anytime a car would, like, people would be walking in a straight line. Anytime they'd hear a car nearby, everyone would just start walking zigzag. It was like the beginnings of a flash mob. It was, I mean, aside from the sniping, it was awesome.
But that reminds me of like, what was it? The Sopranos, when they had the black bears. Because there's a bunch of black bears in New Jersey. A lot of people don't realize how many there are. There's so many. I think they have more in New Jersey than any other state in the country. I think that's what someone said. So they did an episode where, they had these black bears come, start tearing up the trash in the yard and stuff. And this one of the old guys, and I'm not really familiar with the show, but one of the characters says, you know how New Jersey guy, if the bear's ever chasing you, just run sideways. They can't do that. Like, run sideways? And the guy's looking at him like, what? Just run in a zigzag, like run sideways. They can't freaking do that. I'm like, okay. Some of the advice people give, just like that, is pretty crazy.
I was one time told by someone the worst bit of advice I might have ever received was that if a state trooper pulls you over and isn't wearing his hat, he can't write you a ticket because he's not in full uniform. At one time, I did it. I was driving with a friend. She was driving, and she was actually friends with Cinderella. While I was in Florida, and we made an illegal U-turn, and we got pulled over, and it was a state trooper, and he walked out of his car, and he didn't have his hat on, and I just got so smug. I'm just like sitting in the passenger seat and be like, "Don't worry, I got this." And he's like, "So do you know why I pulled you over?" And I was like, "Yeah, we did an illegal U-turn." And he was like, "Oh, so you admit that you?" I was like, "Yeah, but where's your hat?" And he was like, "Excuse me?" I was like, "Got no jurisdiction here. You don't have your full." Yeah, I was just spouting 19-year-old nonsense at this guy that I heard on like Law and Order. Like, you have no jurisdiction here. Like, I was this close to being like diplomatic immunity, but I was just like, "Yeah, you don't have jurisdiction here." And he was like, "Excuse me?" I was like, "You're not in full uniform." And he goes, "That's not a thing." And I was like, "Yes, it is." I was like arguing with this guy. He goes, "Who told you?" I was like, "A guy I lived with at college who worked for the state parks." And he was like, "No, we can still write you a ticket."
State park.
Like, yeah. I was like,
Parks and Rec, baby.
Yeah. And he goes, "But that might be one of the funnier things anyone's ever said to me at a traffic stop." He's like, "So I'll let you guys off with a warning right now." And
nice.
I was like, "Okay, thanks."
Right now? Was he going to come back later? Or?
Yeah, I was like, well, he said right now because he saw
Did you
my
have dinner
eyes
plans or something?
We were about to keep doing illegal U-turns.
Did you say, you're like, "Can we get a police escort? This traffic is crazy."
Yeah. "Sir, may I have your hat?"
"Sir, may I try on your hat and possibly fire your weapon?" Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Webster Ace Hardware and Farm Supply are generous sponsors for today's podcast. They have been a family-owned business for 27 years. This helpful hardware store sells items such as archery, Ariat clothing and boots, Wrangler jeans, case knives, Hammond's candies, and live fishing. They also have a full selection of hardware, RV supply, propane, Ben Moore, Royal and Clark, and Kingston paints. You need a barn or fencing job done? Custom barn kits and roofing metal are provided at your local Ace Hardware store. What about a new grill for the yard? Traeger, Big Green Egg, Weber, and Blackstone are found here, along with all the accessories to go with it. Stock up your workshop with DeWalt, Milwaukee, or Craftsman tools. They got you covered. Remember to go to ace.com to shop their entire line to have items shipped directly to the store.
I got the script for Sandlot, and I originally had to read for Bertram, the taller kid with the glasses in the film.
Right.
And there was actually a whole different scene I read for Bertram, talking about the beast he sits under that lean-to and in Mr. Myrtle's yard and all that. And so I went in and I read for Bertram, and I got a call back for Bertram, and went in and read for Bertram again.
Yeah.
And then they're like, called my mom, said he's got the role. And I was like, "Oh, that's awesome." And then me and the guys went to the field, and they kind of lined us up because they wanted us to play baseball. They wanted us to train. So we looked like we knew what we were doing out there, so we actually, our coach was the guy that played Squince's grandpa, I think, when he does the scene where he's the police chief.
Oh, yeah.
He was actually our coach because he was pretty good at baseball, I guess.
Oh, that's cool.
He was teaching us and everything. And as we were filming that, as we were practicing on the field in LA here, producers came and they pulled me and my mom aside and said, "Hey, we don't really think he's right for the role." And so we were like, "Oh, that's it. That's the end of this." That was fun hanging out with some of the guys and practicing. And they said, "We have another role we'd like him to read for. It's a bigger character in the movie called Yeah Yeah." And they're like, he needs to have a ton of energy, and he needs to be very hyper and, energetic. And that's, yeah. So my mom took me to the liquor store and got me one of those big Hershey's Kiss bars, and she said, eat that whole thing. And so I ate the whole bar and went in and got a standing ovation from the director, David Mickey Evans, and the rest is history. And I became, yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. So the sugar's what did you in, huh?
Yeah, the sugar. It wasn't liquor, I promise you.
Well, when you said liquor store, I'm like, where's this going? It was she got you something, and I was like, that would do the complete opposite for me. I'd be like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, it wasn't liquor at that age.
Well, not just because you're on here, but yeah was my favorite, and I think I think that's because we all had a friend like that growing up. You know what I mean? It's like, you have that friend that can't sit still. I had a friend like that, and he come over to the house, and it'd be 2:00 in the morning, and my dad would yell, "Hey, it's time to go to bed." That's the kid that I think of.
The shit talking smart ass.
Yeah, exactly. Now, did you, besides the energy stuff, did you get to improvise anything with that, or was that all scripted? Like because they wanted a specific way to do the character?
It was. I mean, when I auditioned, I obviously read from the sides that they gave me, but when we actually shot Sandlot, a lot of the lines and everything were improvised. So Pat Renna, who played Ham, him yelling out, "That's your sister over in left field, naked," and all that stuff. That was all stuff that basically the director was yelling at him off camera, just random stuff for him to yell out on what to say. So he was yelling that stuff, off camera, and Pat was following what to say. And but one of my improvised things was, I remember on set I had a book of your mama jokes. And,
those are the guys.
Me and the guys would do battles each other. Like, your mama's so fat that not even Jesus could lift her spirits. And we would just go back and forth saying these your mama jokes. And after every one, I would be like, oh. And then one day Dave was walking by and he goes, "Do that again." And I go, "Oh." And that's how they got the Scamful honey scene where we're baking like a toasted cheeser. And then I go, "Oh." And that was where that particular thing came from. So that was kind of improvised by me.
That's funny.
Yeah, and just some other improvised stuff was your clothes are going out of style. They already are, Squints. That was an improvised line. Which, by the way, is the biggest line in Japan. That's there. You're killing me, Squints.
Oh, really?
Is that line? Yeah.
Wow, that's bigger than that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts that you did was when they pull Squints out of the pool and they're like, "Oh, he looks bad," and you go, "Yeah, he looks really crappy." It's that's my friend. I can hear him saying that, like someone's about to drown, and yeah, he looks really crappy.
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun doing that scene.
Could you play baseball? Were you athletic?
Yeah, we got good. We got pretty good. They brought me back to the field after I got cast as and then we had to start training.
Gotcha.
So I actually got pretty good. Me and the guys got good, and we would even when the cameras were off, we would play and practice, and we were always playing baseball, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I imagine that. That's what I mean. Still, kids today. My stepson plays baseball, and the kids are running around and they're doing stuff like that, all the time. Where even when you're trying to, the parents can be talking about something really, really important, and the kids are just running around so I can imagine you guys on set, after it's all done, let's just play around. Let's, throw the ball around and just be kids. I mean, that's basically what, it's almost like even though you auditioned for it, it was like you did it naturally. You were playing a kid, which wasn't hard to do when you were a kid.
Yeah. If you actually zoom off to the left of the screen, when we're filming, you'll actually see all of our parents standing there watching the filming. So it's pretty funny.
That's so funny.
one of the favorite scenes that every 4th of July I post it is the 4th of July game. And it's one of the most, like, I think one of the best scenes in like cinematography, like just the way you guys are like stop playing baseball and you're looking up and all the colors from the fireworks are going off. And I mean, it just brings you back to, back when we were kids and we played at night or during the day and played all day. And, I think we were the last generation to play outside, and that's the feeling that's, you got when you're like, man, these kids were away from their parents and they had no idea where they were. That's how we were, So it was pretty cool. But that's one of my favorite scenes of the movie. That and the pool scene, obviously, the pool with pool honeys. That was,
yeah.
So do you keep? I know you guys have kind of went out and did like the 25th anniversary and the 30th anniversary, and do you keep like tabs with all the guys, or just was it because of that reunion that brought you guys together? Do you still talk to to each other?
Yeah, we've been touring for 5 years now, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
We've been touring since the 25th anniversary. And that was kind of what brought us all back together with the 25th.
So you still keep in touch with the guys. You said, who was it that came back now? That you said lived there?
The guy that played Timmy Timmons, Victor Mattia, he's one of my best friends on set. So we'd actually seen each other for many, many years before the 25th. And then on the 25th is kind of when I saw some of the guys. Like, I hadn't seen Tom Guyree play Smalls since The Sandlot, or since we did the tour of the East Coast, because we did like a nationwide tour after the movie came out to promote it.
Oh, cool.
But I hadn't seen him since then. And so, yeah, it was cool to see all the guys. And it was kind of like we were all thrown back in the mix. All the guys except Mike Vitar, who plays Benny. He's chosen to just live a private life and not be a part of the stuff that we do. But
gotcha.
I visited him briefly in 2019 at the fire department he works at, and he's doing
cool.
great. And
cool.
Yeah. I've seen those guys like maybe every 3 weeks.
Yeah. I just ordered a baseball from, I got a baseball from, it says the Great Hambino on it. And, so that'll be coming in soon. I can add it to my collection. It seems like everybody else is doing good. I mean, it seems like they're doing their own thing, which is great, I just think that was, for, at a young age, it was such a big stepping stone that you guys were a part of something that, like I said, this was probably one of my favorite movies of baseball. And a lot of people would argue with me on that, but it's just one of those classic baseball movies,
Thanks for tuning in for the best of part 4 of the Goblay Show. I just wanted to say a special thanks to all our sponsors and for everyone who has tuned in this past year and, that enjoy the show. I can't thank you enough for all your support through this last year. It is greatly appreciated, and I can feel the love in the community. So until we meet next time, we'll see you later.